Good evening, everyone. I hope my screen is visible and I'm audible too.
Yes, you are, Dheeraj.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right. So, guys, for your convenience, as Anil sir have informed that we have kept everyone's mic on mute so that we will not get the background noises, right? But you can leave your questions and queries in the chat box, and our team will take care of that. All right. So let's start today's session. So, guys, today's session is a demo session of our 1 month online HR training course. In this course, we provide three modules, right? These modules are, first one is the statutory and the legal compliances, in which we cover up the major labor laws of India. These are Provident Fund, ESIC, Payment of Bonus, Payment of Gratuity Act, Maternity Benefit Act. So we focus on the major practical working areas of all these statutory and legal compliances. Second module is the compensation and benefit, in which we discuss about the CTC structuring, understanding their components, understanding of what is CTC gross and net salary. We do the live payroll management, income tax calculation, professional tax, labor welfare fund, loss of pay calculation, overtime payments, leave and holidays, full and final settlement. We all these things we do on the practical basis in the module 2, that is the compensation and benefits. Third is the recruitment selection. Again, we focus on the working practical working areas of the recruitment selection as well. We know what is job description specification, how to design them. We discuss on the sourcing strategies. There is a live training on the Naukri.com and understanding the sourcing skills, screening methodologies, mass mailing and job postings, LinkedIn, ATS and RMS, getting a knowledge of the social site for the recruitment from where we can look out for the candidates. Then we have a session for CV writing and interviewing skills. Right, this is for the module 3, that is recruitment and selection. So for this practical training course only, we have conducted this today's demo session. So before moving to the main content of today's demo, let's have a poll here. The question is, how much experience do you have in HR? So you just need to provide your experience range just to have an understanding the kind of audiences we are having today. Right. So I'm just launching a poll. Please share your inputs for this. So the poll is live. You can share your inputs. You need to answer if you are experienced or if you are a fresher. You need to answer that. Okay. All right. So today we are having around 72% freshers. Rest are the experienced. Thank you so much for providing your inputs, guys. I'm just ending this poll and moving forward. All right. So guys, today's topic is compensation and benefit management. Right. In this today's demo session, we will understand what is compensation and what are benefits. Then we'll understand how it is designed and what are the components which becomes important at the time of designing the compensation and benefit structure. Then we'll do the understanding of the actual offer letters, some of the actual offer letters, and we'll try to understand the annexures of those offer letters and their importance, right? That these are the actual offer letters issued by some of our clients to the candidates. Then we'll do a live CTC and Excel preparation that would be on Excel. And using all these CTC concepts, we'll do this. So this will be the process we will be moving forward today. So again, there is a poll related to the topic of compensation and benefits. So there is a statement. The statement is net take-home salary of all employees getting a CTC of 10 lakhs in 10 different companies would be same. Is this statement is true or false? You need to answer that, right? So I'm just launching the poll again, and you guys can provide your inputs. The poll is live now. You can share your input. The question is net take home salary for all employees getting a CTC of 10 lakhs in 10 different companies would be same. If this statement is true or false, you can share your inputs on this. Okay. All right. So we have got 80% of votes till now, in which 91% are saying it's false and 7% are saying it's true. All right. Yes, guys. So the statement is false. The CTC of 10 different employees cannot be same. It will always differ from employee to employee depending upon their pay scale, experiences, and all. Now let's close this poll and move further. So let's understand what are compensation and benefit. What is compensation and benefit? So compensation is defined as the total amount of monetary pay provided to an employee. It is the money given for the work. So any amount, any payment which we make to our employee in form of money is known as compensation. So whatever salary we are paying to an employee is compensation because that is paid in the form of money. So whichever includes money in the payment is known as compensation. It is the money given for the work to the employee. Benefits. All non-financial form of compensation offered in addition to the cash salary is known as benefits. Benefits are the facilities, extra facilities, and other benefits given by the companies to their employees over and above, in addition to their salary, in excess of their salary. That is not the part of their compensation package, but it is over and above the salary that the company is paying. These benefits can be medical insurance, life insurance, health insurances, dental insurance, or any other kind of extra benefits that the company is offering to the employee. So there is saying that benefits have no direct effect on employees' performance. However, inadequate benefits do contribute in the lower satisfaction level. So it means that even if we are providing so many benefits to our employee, it will not assure that their performance will increase or their satisfaction level will increase because of that. But if we do cut down any existing benefit or we do not give any of them, will surely lead to a lower satisfaction level of an employee, right? So that is why benefits are also important as the compensation, right? So benefits are also equally important as the compensation are important. So we'll understand the components which included in the compensation and benefits. So first understand the components which are included in the compensation. The components included in the compensation are the basic pay, allowances, commission incentives, overtime pay, bonus profit sharing, stock options. So here the basic pay. Basic pay is the major payment which is done in the compensation package. This is the main salary of the employee. Then we have allowances. Allowances can be of different types. This is mainly to meet the expenses, other expenses of the employee, which is related to the company's work. So allowances can be travel allowance, meal allowance, housing allowance, medical allowance, and there are many n number of allowances which are available. We'll discuss in detail in the coming slide. Then there are commissions and incentives also, which can be the part of the compensation package. There could be overtime pay, bonuses, profit sharing, and the stock option. So all these components includes money. So that is why they are the part of compensation. Then we have benefits. Benefits can be holidays, leaves, welfare facilities, cafeterias, infrastructure facilities, rewards and recognitions, insurance, medical, retirement benefits, and there are n number of benefits which are available and are being practiced under a company. This is mainly depending upon the company's policy, that what kind of benefits they have decided for their employees, for their company. So this will differ from company to company, right? There are some other benefits also that are being practiced under their organization. These are the health insurance, dental insurances, life insurances, retirement plans, gym fitness, vision care, personal leaves, sick leaves, child care, paid leave, etc. And there are n number of benefits which are available. So like I said, benefits are mainly picked up by the companies depending upon their requirements. So this differs from company to company. But compensation is something which normally all the companies follow in the same way, right? So benefits, we are going to stop it over here only on this slide only, and we'll move with the compensation. So
Yes, though your voice is clear to me, but few people are complaining that your voice is slightly low. You need to be slightly louder.
I'm loud enough, sir. I think they're
Okay,
having some
okay,
issues with
fine.
their.
Yeah, it is okay with me, but
All right. So how the compensation and benefits are decided? How do we decide that what amount of salary should be given to an employee? What are the factors which become responsible at the time of deciding the salary of an employee? Let's understand that. So the factors which becomes important at the time of deciding the salary and the wages of an employee. The very first factor is the minimum wages decided by the state government, right? So whenever you are deciding the salary of an employee, always check out for the minimum wage of that state government and minimum wage for the scheduled employment. You need to check the employment category as well. Employment categories such as the unskilled employee, semi-skilled, highly skilled, or the skilled employee. So always check the minimum wage first at the time of deciding the salary of the employee. Then there are other factors also like cost of living and the locations. when the person is living. Ability to pay. The company have decided a budget for any specific position. So this also becomes an important factor at the time of deciding the salary of an employee. Supply and demand. What kind of demand is there for any specific work? What kind of manpower is required for any specific work? And what is the availability of that manpower in the job market? This also becomes an important factor while deciding the wages of an employee. Labor unions and industries also becomes an important factor at the time of deciding the salary. There is something that is already decided, that is the minimum wages that has been decided by the state government. Minimum wages is decided by state government, right? Factors deciding minimum wages are, what are the factors which becomes important at the time of deciding the minimum wage of the state? How do the state government decide the minimum wage of the specific categories of the employees? The factors are cost of living and locations, labor supply and demand, again, labor unions and industry. These are the factors which becomes important at the time of deciding the minimum wages for the state as well. Now, paying below minimum wages is illegal. Whatever salary you are deciding for an employee, it should not be less than the minimum wage of the state. Now, whenever I'm saying the salary, it is the basic salary of the employee. So whenever you are designing the CTC structure for an employee, the basic salary should be either equals to or less than the minimum wage of that state, right? So here we are having a question. This question you can answer in the chat boxes. Why unskilled labor in Bihar is getting less salary than the unskilled labor working in Delhi? What is the reason that the unskilled labor of Bihar is getting lower wages than the unskilled labor of Delhi? What is the reason? You can answer the question in the chat box. Because of enough supply. So you guys can answer in the chat box. What is the reason that the unskilled labor of Bihar is getting lower salary than the unskilled labor of Delhi? What is the reason? Yes, cost of living, location on the cost of correct time. So the major reason is again the minimum wage, right? Minimum wage includes all of this: cost of living, locations, labor supply and demand, labor unions and industry. The minimum wage, at the time of deciding the minimum wage, the state checks out all these factors, and on the basis of this only they decide the minimum wage. So that is the reason that the unskilled labor of Bihar is getting the lower salary than the Delhi's worker. Why? Because the minimum wage of Bihar state is lower than the minimum wage of Delhi, right? What if the same worker who was working in Bihar get transferred to Karnataka? Now, when he gets transferred to Karnataka, he will start getting the wages according to the Karnataka's minimum wage, right? So, minimum wage plays an important role at the time of deciding the salary of an employee. Now, there is another poll that we are having, that is must have attribute. It's the kind of survey we are having. This is a statement, which is the must have attribute to make someone the preferred choice during an interview. The options are communication skills, practical skills and knowledge, degrees and certifications. I'm launching this poll and you guys can provide your inputs for this. So the poll is live now. You can share your inputs. Which is the must-have attribute to make someone the preferred choice during an interview? Options are communication skills, practical skills and knowledge, degrees and certifications. Which is the correct answer according to you? Okay, so the fight is going between the option 1 and 2 only till now. Communication skill, people 43% people are saying it's communication skills, 54% are saying it's practical skills and knowledge. Till now, there is no vote for degrees and certification. All right, thank you so much for sharing your inputs, guys. So the highest percentage is given for practical skills and knowledge. Communication skill is 46%, degrees and certification is 1% only. I'm just ending this poll and moving forward. Now, there are some of the components which you all must have heard. These are the take-home salary, monthly salary, and CTC. Take-home salary, the net salary, monthly salary means the gross salary, and CTC, cost to the company. What all these means? Net salary, take-home salary. Net salary is the payable salary after all kind of deductions. So whatever amount we pay to an employee, after all kind of deduction, these deductions can be statutory deductions, or any other kind of deduction such as debits or loans. So any amount which is payable after all kind of deductions is known as the net take home salary of an employee. Another thing we are having is the monthly gross salary. What is monthly gross salary? This is the payable salary before any kind of deduction. So it means this is the total earning of an employee. The monthly earning of an employee before any kind of deduction. Once we deduct the components from the monthly salary, such as PF, ESI, or any other statutory things from this gross salary, we get the net pay. Third, we are having the cost to the company. What is cost to company? It is the total expenditure done by a company to an employee, right? The total amount spent on employee is known as the cost to the company, right? Net pay is the payable salary after deductions to an employee. Monthly gross salary is the payable salary before any kind of deduction. Cost to the company is the total expenditure done by a company to any employee. This is the second last poll we are having. This is again related to this topic only. The question is CTC. Again, this is a statement. CTC, cost to the company will be my net take home salary. Is this statement is true? Can cost to the company, CTC, be equal to the net pay of an employee? I'm just launching the poll. You guys can share your inputs. The poll is live. You can share your inputs. CTC, cost to the company will be my net take home salary. Is this statement is true or false? Okay, we have got 78% of votes, 80% of votes still now, in which 96% are saying it's false, and only 6% are saying it's true. Yes, guys, the correct answer is this statement is false. The CTC can never be equal to the net take home salary of an employee. It is always different. Now let's understand why it is different. So now we'll understand how the compensation and benefits are designed. How do we design the structure of compensation and benefits? This is the CTC breakup. How do we do the CTC breakup? Right, the very first thing while designing the compensation benefits package is to decide the fixed salary of an employee, fixed base pay of an employee. This includes basic salary and dearness allowance. Dearness allowance, if applicable, dearness allowance is a component which is not frequently used in the private sector. It is mostly used in the government sector, the public sector, right? So the very first step is to decide the base pay of an employee. This base pay includes the basic salary and dearness allowance. Whenever you are deciding the basic salary of an employee, always check out the minimum wage of the state. That the basic salary can never be less than the minimum wages decided by the state government. It should always be equals to or more than the minimum wage of the state. It should not be less than the minimum wage of the state. So this is the first step. Whenever you have decided the basic salary, the fixed salary of the employee, you need to decide the allowances. The allowances can be house rent allowance, conveyance allowance, medical allowance, special allowance, entertainment allowance, newspaper allowance, telephone, internet, vehicle maintenance, fuel maintenance, etc. There are n number of allowances available. Now, how do we pick up the allowance? Which allowance to be given to an employee? So whenever you are picking up any allowance for an employee, whenever you are choosing an allowance for an employee, always check the tax applicability of that allowance, right? Always opt for the those allowances which are either partially or fully tax exempted, right? So whenever we are picking the allowances, always check the tax applicability of those allowances. So once you have decided the fixed salary and the allowances, means that you have decided the gross pay of the employee, right? The gross pay includes the base pay and allowances. The combination of base pay and allowances, we get the gross pay. Third step is to calculate the statutory contribution, the retirement. These includes provident fund, ESI, gratuity, bonus, labor welfare fund, professional tax. Now, labor welfare fund and professional tax, which is something depends upon the state. It is not applicable everywhere. It is applicable to some of the state, and to some of the state it is not applicable. So once you have decided fixed pay, allowances, you need to calculate the statutory contribution and retirement for that employee. And if your company is giving benefits to your employees, you need to specify the benefits as well. These benefits can be medical insurance, life insurance, club membership, those benefits which we have discussed in the earlier slide. Then, if the position requires, the position demands the variable pay, like if it is a sales position or a marketing position where there is a target, and on the basis of that target, your company is offering some variable pay to that employee. These variable pay can be performance linked incentive, retention bonus, bonus on the company's performance, long-term incentive. So these are the steps you need to follow to design a complete compensation and benefits package. The first step is to decide the base pay of the employee. Second step is to decide on the allowances. Third is to decide on the retirals, perks and benefit if your company is offering to your employees. Fifth is the incentives and variable pay. It depends upon the position. If it requires, then you can decide this as well. Now, let's understand how do we calculate the net pay, gross salary, and CTC. Is there any formula for that? So yes, there are some easy and simple formulas for the calculation of net pay, gross salary, and the CTC. The formula for the net pay is, the formula for the gross salary is basic salary plus allowances we get the gross salary. Sum of base pay and allowances we get the gross salary. Now the gross salary minus employees deduction and contributions, we get net pay. Gross salary plus employers contributions, we get cost to the company, right? So the combination of base pay and allowances, we get the gross salary of the employee. This is the total earning of an employee, right? Total earning includes the basic salary and allowances. Then how do we calculate the net pay? Gross salary, total earning minus all the statutory contribution and deduction or any other kind of deduction. So once we deduct the employee's part of contribution and deductions from the gross salary, we get net pay. What is CTC? How do we calculate the CTC? So the employer part of statutory contributions, when we add this with the gross pay of an employee, we get the cost to the company. So the employer always contribute over and above to the gross salary. Employees' contribution is a deduction from their gross salary. So these are the simple formulas for the calculation of compensation and benefits package, right? So we are going to use all these in the Excel also, and we'll try to know how to calculate the compensation and benefit package. Now there are three compensation models which are majorly used. The first one is the traditional compensation model, right? What is traditional compensation model? It is a compensation model in which the company decides everything. The company decides the complete package. They decide the base pay, all the allowances of the employee, all the benefits of the employee, right? In this traditional compensation model, there is no choice left to the employee to decide on any of their salary, any amount of their salary. So a package where everything is decided by the company is known as a traditional compensation model. Then we have flexible model. Nowadays, this flexible model is very much in practice. What is flexible model? The flexible model is a compensation model in which the company majorly decides the base pay of the employee. The company decides the basic salary or the DA. Rest all the allowances the company gives this choice to employee only. That this amount is given to you to pick up for the allowances. So in the flexible model, the employee have the option to decide on their salary. They have the option to pick up the allowances according to their expenses and expenditures, right? So this kind of compensation model where there is some options given to the employee to pick up their wages, this is called the flexible compensation model. Third is the combined one, the combination of traditional and flexible. What is the combined one? Combined one is where the 80% or 70% of the compensation is decided by the company. Like they have decided the base pay also, most of the allowances also, and they leave one or two allowance to be picked up by employee as per their convenience, as per their choice. So these are the three compensation model we are having. Traditional is where the company decides everything and there is no choice left to the employee to pick up as their compensation. Flexible is the company mostly decides the base pay, all the allowances are being decided by the employee. The combined one is the combination of traditional and flexible, in which the company decide most of the part of their salary and some of the portion is left to the employee to decide. Right? Now let's take some of the example of these compensation models. So a few examples we are having here are, now this is the traditional model. This CTC lecture is an example of traditional model. How come? If you see here, the company have decided everything. Huh? They have decided the basic salary, all the allowances of the employee, and there is no choice left to the employee to pick up any of the compensation part. Right. So this kind of compensation model is known as a traditional compensation model. Now this is the flexible model. Why so? So if you see here, the company have decided his basic salary, right? And there is another component named as flexi compensation, right? This compensation, they have given an amount, and the company is giving freedom to their employees that for this specific amount, they can pick up the allowances from this available basket, right? For this flexi compensation, the employee is free to choose the allowances from these available options. So this kind of compensation model, where is some option given to the employee also, is known as the flexible compensation model. Now let's understand some of the actual offer letters. Right? These are the actual offer letters issued to the actual candidates, and we'll try to understand the annexures, right, of these compensation structures. So this CTC annexure on the left side here, this is an example of the traditional compensation model. Why so? Because the company have decided everything, the basic salary, all the allowances as well, all the benefits also. But this is also a perfect example of compensation and benefit model. How come? Because the company is giving some benefits also to this employee, and these benefits are over and above the CTC, not the part of the CTC, right? The benefits given here are the travel reimbursement. Then they are giving some kind of medical insurances as well. But in this blue box, if you'll notice that the company is saying that there will be an additional monthly deduction towards the medical insurance as per the Mediclaim policy. So the net take home salary which is given over here is not the final net take home salary of the employee, right? There would be a further deduction from this take home salary of this employee. So always check out the offer letters very carefully. On the right side, again, we are having an example of the traditional compensation model. But I would say that this is a why traditional, because all the allowances, basic salary and the allowances are already decided by the company. But I would say that this is the combination of traditional and the flexible model. How come? If you see this red box over here, in this red box, the company has given option for this allowance, that leave travel allowance. The company is giving the option to the employee that they can take this leave travel allowance as the monthly salary, or they can claim this LTA amount at the time of actual expenditure. Right? They can claim this as a reimbursement, or they can take this amount on monthly basis in their salary only. So here's some kind of option is given to the employee to decide on their salary. So that is why this we can say is a combination of traditional and flexible compensation model. Now this annexure A is a perfect example of flexi compensation model. How come? The company have decided the basic salary of the employee, right? And they have given a name as flexi compensation. Now this flexi compensation, they have given this amount, that this amount the employee can pick up from the available allowances in the company's basket, right? So this is a good example of the flexi compensation model and a perfect example of complete compensation and benefit package, because there is nothing hidden over here. All these benefits that the company is giving to this employee is over and above this CTC, and it's not included under the CTC only. The company is giving the medical insurance to the employee, the top up and top up for the medical insurance. The company is giving the group medical insurance, group accident also, personal accident also, group term life insurance also, and gratuity is also the part of benefit. They have not made the gratuity also the part of their CTC. The gratuity also is the part of benefit, is not the part of CTC. This is the perfect example of a flexible compensation model and a perfect example of complete compensation and benefit package. Now this one, if you see this compensation model, this is an example of what flexi compensation model, because the company have decided basic salary, HRA, and there is an allowance named as ad hoc allowance. Now, for this amount, 4,82,000, the employee is free to pick up the amount allowances they want to, according to their convenience, according to their investments and applicability. But this is a very bad compensation model also. This is not at all advisable to make a CTC structure like this. Now, why so? If you notice, ad hoc, this provident fund and gratuity, they have made the part of base salary, which is not at all correct. Gratuity and ad hoc allowance can never be the part of base salary of an employee, right? On the right side also, again, this is a bad example of a compensation model, because again here they have not defined what kind of compensation structure it is, because they have made the provident fund and gratuity also the part of their gross salary only, right? So it needs to be specified. All the terms need to be specified in the CTC structure. Now let's see the corrected version of these compensation structures. So this one, where the provident fund and the gratuity was a part of base salary, it can be prepared like this. On the right side, if you notice here, we have made it like this. Basic salary, HRA, and ad hoc allowance make the gross salary. The PF gratuity can make the part of CTC, and it can be kept under retiral, right? So this can be written this way, but if you make provident fund and gratuity the part of base salary, it is not at all correct, right? So now let's move to the Excel sheet for the understanding of the CTC structure calculation. How do we actually calculate a CTC structure if your company asks you to prepare a CTC of some amount? How do you do that? What is the process of doing that? Let's check that out on an Excel sheet. So here I'm having this format for the CTC breakup. I hope this Excel is visible to everyone, right? So here, suppose if your company asks you to prepare a CTC structure of rupees 20,500, this is the monthly CTC of an employee. 20,500, this is the monthly CTC amount that the company wants to offer to an employee. How do you make the CTC breakup of this amount? What is the process? The process is the same we have discussed in the presentation. The very first step you have to do is to decide the basic salary of the employee. And how do you decide the basic salary of the employee? Always check two things. First, always check the minimum wage of the state. And if you are complying with the minimum wage of the state, you can go for the another criteria, that is 40 to 50% of the CTC. You can keep this basic salary as 40 to 50% of CTC. Now, why 40 to 50% only? Why not 35%, or why not 60% or more than that? You can do it that way also. 40% to 50% is something that is universally accepted. There is no law to decide the basic salary. There is no percentage given by the law to decide on the basic salary. This 40% to 50% is a percentage which is accepted by all industries, right? And somehow it justifies as well. And let's see how does it justify. Now, the first thing is to decide the basic salary of the employee, and the criteria are 40 to 50% of the CTC. So let's calculate 40%, 50%. Let's take 50% of CTC as basic salary. That we got 10,250 rupees. And let's assume that this 10,250 rupees is either equals to or more than the minimum wage of the state. It should not be less than the minimum wage of the state. Always make sure that, right? So this is the first step, that you have to calculate the basic salary of the employee. And once you have calculated the basic salary of the employee, you need to calculate the allowances of the employee, if it is applicable. If you are giving the allowances to that employee, you can calculate the other allowances of the employee. So I have taken three allowances as an example here: the house rent allowance, telephone allowance, and the special allowance, right? How do we pick up these allowances? Like I said, always check the tax applicability of these allowances, right? So whenever you are picking up the house rent allowance as an allowance in the part of their salary, how do we pick up that amount? What amount shall be kept in house rent allowance? So the criteria to decide the house rent allowance of an employee is given by the income tax department, right? So the criteria is 40% of basic salary for non-metro cities and 50% of basic salary for the metro cities can be taken as house rent allowance. Now, why 40% and 50%? Why cannot less than 40%? Why cannot more than 50%? You can do it that way also. You can go for 30% of basic salary also, or more than the 50% of basic salary also. But considering the point of view of the income tax, only up to 50% of basic salary as an HRA is tax exempted. Over and above 50% of the basic salary will be taxable, right? So that is the only reason why we take 40% of basic salary for the non-metro city employees and 50% of basic salary for the metro city employees. This is the only reason. The tax applicability is the reason. Considering that this employee is living in a non-metro city where this 40% criteria is applicable, right? So 40% of basic salary, we can calculate the house rent allowance for the employees who are living in a non-metro city. Third criteria is to decide on the telephone allowance. The third we have taken as the telephone allowance. Now, how do we pick up this telephone allowance? There is no percentage given for the telephone allowance or any these kind of allowances. This is this is exempted on the actual expenditure incurred by an employee, right? So whenever you are giving the telephone allowance for an employee, always go for a realistic figure. So we can take it as 10% of basic salary. So this come around 1,025 rupees. So this is somehow realistic for the expenditure of telephone. For the telephone bills or internet bills, 1,025 rupees is somehow a realistic figure. So you can decide it this way. Then we have a special allowance. How do we pick up the special allowance? This cell I'm going to keep blank. I'm not going to specify any amount in the special allowance cell for now, and we'll move further. So once we have decided the basic salary and allowances, now we can calculate the gross salary of the employee. What was the formula we have discussed for the calculation of gross salary of an employee? The formula was sum of basic salary and all allowances, we get the gross salary of the employee. It means the sum of all above, we can calculate the gross salary of an employee, correct? Now, once you have calculated the gross salary of an employee, you need to calculate the CTC. What is the formula for the calculation of the CTC? Formula is gross salary plus contribution done by an employer in the statutory areas, right? These contribution can be PF, ESI, or labor welfare fund, right? So PF and ESI is something which is applicable in every state, right? PF and ESI is something which is applicable in every state. So that is why I have taken PF and ESI majorly here for the calculation of employer's contribution. Now, first let's calculate the PF contribution of an employer. What is the rate of employer's contribution in PF? It is 13%. That is 12 plus 1%. Now, why 13%? You must be thinking that the employer-employee both contribute 12%. That's correct. Employer-employee both contribute 12%, but the employer contributes 1% extra. That 1% goes in goes as a PF admin charge and the EDLI, employee deposit link insurance. That is 0.5 is the PF admin charge, 0.5 as the employee deposit link insurance. That is why the total cost done by an employer in PF for an employee is 13%. And there is an option that you can limit your contribution at maximum 15,000. This 13% of PF wage we used to calculate for the PF contribution. Now, what is PF wage? PF wage is the amount on which we have to calculate the PF contribution. Earlier, we used to calculate the PF contribution on basic NDA. After the Supreme Court's judgment in September 2019, the companies have started calculating PF on either gross minus HRA or full gross salary, right? So nowadays we are calculating in two ways, either gross minus HRA or full gross salary. And one option is there that you can limit your cost at maximum 15,000 rupees, right? So we would be using all these cases to calculate the PF contribution of employer side, right? For that, I would be using the if function of the Excel. If function is a logical test with two outcomes. First outcome if the logical test is true, second outcome if the logical test is false. Now let's try to put in a logical test over here. So the logical test I want to put in is the capping criteria. Like being an employer, I do not want to contribute on more than 15,000 of PF wages, right? So this I want to put in as a logical test. So the logical test would be if the PF wage, so gross salary, we are considering the gross salary as the PF wage. If the PF wage of this employee is more than rupees 15,000, in that situation, I want to limit the PF contribution at maximum 15,000 rupees. This is the logical test if PF wages is more than rupees 15,000. This is the logical test and this is the outcome we have. First outcome if this statement is correct, if the logical test is correct. So if the PF wages is more than 15,000, in that situation, I want to limit my contribution at 15,000. But if it is less than or equals to 15,000, I want to contribute on the actual PF wage of the employee. This is the logical test. This is the first outcome. First outcome when the logical test is true. Second outcome if the logical test is false. Bracket close. Multiply with the rate of contribution done by an employer, that is 13%. Press enter and we have calculated the PF contribution done by an employer, right? Once you have calculated PF, now is the time to calculate the ESI. Now, what is the criteria for the calculation of ESI contribution? We need to check out two things. The rate of contribution for employer in ESI is 3.25% of the gross salary. But we always need to check the eligibility of the employee. The eligibility criteria is gross salary rupees 21,000. Any employee who is getting gross wages either equals to or less than rupees 21,000 is eligible for ESI. Those who are getting gross salary more than rupees 21,000 are not eligible for the ESI benefits. It means those who are not eligible for ESI benefits, we do not need to contribute for those employees in ESI. So whenever you are calculating ESI, you need to consider all these criteria. And let's try to input a formula which can automatically calculate the contribution on the basis of eligibility and not eligibility, right? So let's again input the if function. Again, the if function is a logical test. This time I want to put in the logical test on the basis of eligibility of an employee. What is the eligibility criteria? If the gross wages of an employee is more than rupees 21,000, it means anyone whose gross salary is more than rupees 21,000, the person is not eligible for ESI. That is why I want the outcome as 0, because if the person is not eligible for ESI, we do not need to contribute for that employee as well. So the outcome would be 0. But if the gross salary of the employee is less than or equals to rupees 21,000, in that situation, we do need to contribute for that employee on their actual gross salary. So this is the criteria we need to put in. Bracket close, multiply it with the rate of contribution. What is the rate of contribution in ESI? It is 3.25% of the gross salary of the employee. Press enter and we have calculated the employer's contribution in ESIC. Now, once we have calculated the employer's contribution in the statutory areas, what we can do, we can calculate the CTC, right? What is the formula for the calculation of CTC? The formula is gross salary plus employer's contribution. So it means sum of above three. These above three are gross salary and the employer's contribution in the statutory areas. Press enter. Now, if you notice here, we were looking for a monthly CTC of 20,500 rupees, but the CTC amount that we have got over here is not same, right? Now, this is the reason why I have kept this special allowances cell blank, because I want to adjust the differences, whatever differences I would be getting by what I was looking for and what we have got. I would try to adjust the difference amount in this special allowance, right? But I'll do this later on once we have calculated the net pay also. So let's try to input all the formulas and then try to check out this cost to the company, whether it is equal to this CTC amount which we were looking for or not, right? So for the calculation of net pay amount, we need to calculate the employee's contribution in PF and ESI. right? So it means that again we need to input the formulas. We do not need to type in the formulas again. Just to what? Go to the PF employer cell, right? This is the PF employer contribution. Go to that cell, copy the formula, come back to the employee cell, PF employee, paste that formula and change the rate. The employee's rate of contribution in PF is 12%. Press enter and we have calculated the PF for employee N. Same thing we'll do for ESI contribution also. Go to the ESI employer cell, copy the formula, come back to the employee cell, paste it and change the rate. What is the rate of contribution in ESI for employee? It is 0.75%. Employee contributes at the rate of 0.75%. Employer contributes at the rate of 3.25% of the gross salary. Press enter and we have calculated the ESI for the employee part. Since we have calculated the employee's deduction parts in the statutory thing, now we can calculate the net pay also. What is the formula for the calculation of net pay, enhanced salary of the employee? The formula is gross salary minus all employees deductions. These two are the employees contributions over here. Minus this from the gross salary, we get the net pay of the employee. So now we have created a framework for the calculation of CTC structure, right? But the amount we were looking for was 20,500 rupees. But the outcome we got is not this amount what we were looking for, right? So what's next we have to do is the adjustment of the differences. For that, we need to first check the difference we are getting. This is the monthly CTC that we were looking for minus the outcome we have got in the calculation. So there is a difference of 2,675 rupees. Now let's try to enter this amount in the special allowance and let's see if the CTC becomes same what we were looking for. So the amount is 2675. Press enter. Now after entering that amount, we are again getting a difference of minus 87 rupees. It means that we need to deduct 87 rupees from this. Let's do that. So there is again a difference of 3 rupees. Now this time it wants to add rupees 3 in this. So let's add that 3 rupees here. And finally, the difference is 0 now, and the CTC amount is same the amount what we were looking for. So this is the normal practice that the companies nowadays follow. Most of the HR nowadays follow for the calculation of the CTC structure, right? So this is the way we can calculate it. Now, if you want to calculate the annual amount, just multiply the monthly amounts with 12 and you will get the annual amounts calculated for the employee. Right. So now this CTC structure is completely ready. But if you guys have noticed that in the special allowance cell, in this cell, we did some manual calculations, right? It was not an automated calculation. So what we have done is we have created an automated CTC calculator, right? This is the automated CTC calculator which we have we have created, right? In which if you notice, each of these cells are having formulas in there, right? Each cells are formula driven depending upon their applicability. So whenever I'm talking about PF, the formula which I have entered here is on the basis of PF applicability. Again, for ESI, again, the formula is on the basis of ESI applicability. Same for LWF, statutory bonus, gratuity, etc. Right? Now, here if you notice, all these figures are 0 right now. And let's try to check out that how do we calculate the CTC structure in this type of automated CTC calculation. For that, we need to go in data. In data, we have an option of what if analysis. In what if analysis, there is an option of goal seek. In this option of goal seek, it asks for 3 things. First, to set the cell where you want the outcome. So this is the CTC cell where I want my outcome. Second, to provide the value which you are looking for, the CTC value that you are looking for. The CTC value we were looking for was 20,500 rupees. Right? This is the CTC value that we were looking for. By changing cell, this is the third thing that the Excel, this CoolSeek is asking. It asks for to provide a cell where it will make all the calculations. So this time I'm providing this basic salary as the cell where it will make the calculations, right? Now press OK. Now see, the calculation is done in a second. This complete CTC structure has been designed in a second without doing any manual entering of the amount. So that is how we can create an automated CTC structure as well. Now let's try to input in another amount. Let's suppose that we want to calculate a CTC structure of 60,000 rupees. 60,000 as a monthly CTC, we want to calculate a CTC structure. Set a cell here. In this cell, I want my outcome of 60,000 CTC and I want to assign basic salary for the calculation. Press OK. See, the calculation is being done and it's done. Now let's take an amount, some odd figure that is not usually offered to any employee, some odd figure to check if it can calculate that odd figure CTC structure correctly or not, right? So again, I'm just assigning this cell as the outcome cell where I want my outcome. And let's take that odd CTC figure like 1,87,561 rupees. This is the CTC, monthly CTC amount that I want to calculate and assigning the cell of basic salary. This is the basic salary where I want my calculations to be done. Press OK and see. The CTC structure has been calculated in seconds, right? And there is no manual activity which I have done for the calculation of CTC structure. So you can automate your process of calculation and ratios and all by using the Excel formulas in the CTC structure, right guys? So that is how we calculate the CTC structure of an employee. Now, once you have calculated the CTC structure of an employee, you have decided how much salary you want to give any employee and what are the components that you want to give to that employee. Once the employee completes a month in your organization, it's time to pay that employee. So payment is not the same what we have decided. What is a fixed? Payment always differs on the basis of pay days of the employee, right? So let's suppose the total days in that month is 31 days and employee came for only 27 days. Now on the basis of this 27 days only we calculate the payable salary of an employee. And how do we calculate the payable salary of the employee? The process is very simple. The formula is fixed. So this is the fixed component that we have decided, we have offered the employee. This is your complete earning capacity. This is the complete earning capacity of the employee, but it becomes payable only on the basis of the pay days of the employee, right? So how do we calculate the payable salary of an employee on the basis of the employee's attendance? The process is fixed salary. The formula is fixed salary multiplied by pay days divided by total days in a month. Press enter, right? We are getting figure in decimals. To avoid that, you can just enter round, enter, right? This is the simple formula. Fixed component multiplied by pay days divided by total days in a month. The same process shall be done for all these components, right? Same process we have to do. If we drag it, it should calculate all the components automatically on the basis of the pay days. But we are getting an error over here. Why so? The error we are getting because of these two cells. When we drag the formula, these cells also gets moved. So we do not want to move these two cells. We want to fix these cells whenever we drag. So for that purpose, what you can do, you can just enter the dollar sign over here and dollar sign, press enter. And now let's try to drag it. Done. This time we have not got any error. Again, sum of all above, we get the gross salary. For the calculation of PF, just copy the formula from here, paste it over here. For ESI, now this time the calculation would be different because quite possible that the payable salary of an employee may increase than the fixed salary of the employee on the basis of the other payments as well, like incentives or the overtime, etc. So whenever we are calculating the payable salary of an employee, the ESI calculation gets changed. First, we check the eligibility from the fixed gross income of an employee. So, if the fixed gross salary of the employee is more than rupees 21,000, then the outcome will be zero. Why? Because if the fixed salary of the employee, fixed gross salary of the employee is more than rupees 21,000, means the person is not eligible. So the outcome will be zero. But if it is less than or equals to rupees 21,000, in that situation, we need to contribute for that employee, and that contribution will go on the payable gross salary of the employee, not on the fixed gross salary, always on the payable gross salary. So that this is the change in the formula. Bracket close, multiply it by, this is the employer contribution. What is the rate of employer contribution? It is 3.25%. 3.25% of the gross salary. Press enter. Done. Since his gross salary is 21,500, which is more than 21,000, the person is not eligible for ESIC. Hence, in the payable salary also, his contribution in ESIC is zero. Right? For CTC, copy and paste. CTC is gross salary plus employer's contribution. Again, what we have to do for the employee section, copy the formula from employer, paste it to the employee section, change the rate. Rate of employee in PF is 12% of PF wages. Same we have to do for the ESI also, copy the employer formula, paste it in the employee cell, change the rate. What is the rate of ESI of employee? It's 0.75% of the payable gross salary. Press enter. We got the SIC calculated. Copy the net pay from here. Press it over here. So the payable salary also got calculated, right? Now let's suppose if you want to change the CTC structure, and if you are calculating the payable, if we increase the pay days, the employee was present for the total 31 days in that month. So now if you see, the payable salary is also same as the fixed gross salary, right? So the number of days, the employee will remain absent. The salary is not payable for those absent days. So if it is for 30 days, the amount will get reduced accordingly, right? Now let's try to change the CTC amount of this amount employee to check the ESIC criteria, right? So if you see now, the gross salary of the employee became 17,000, means the employee is eligible for ESIC, right? So here now we have got the ESIC contribution done for this employee as well. So whenever you are creating a CTC structure, always try to automate it. Try to input the formula so that it can calculate things automatically depending upon the criteria of eligibility and non-eligibility of the employees in all these things, right? So this is it for the Excel calculations, right? We have done the live CTC and Excel preparation in Excel as well. What we have discussed till now, we have discussed all these four things. We have understood what is compensation benefit. We have understood how it is designed and which are the components which becomes important at the time of designing the compensation structure of an employee. We had an understanding of some actual offer letters and an understanding of the actual annexures of the employees' offer letters. And then we did a live CTC and Excel preparation in Excel in front of you, right? Now, this is the last poll we are having over here, the purpose of CTC design. The question is, a compensation structure should address which of the following objectives? The options are compliance with labor laws, less burden to employer in terms of cost, less tax liability and more enhanced salary for employees. Option D is all the above. I'm just launching this poll. This is the last poll we are having. So you can just share your inputs. I'm just launching this poll. So the poll is live now. You can share your inputs. A compensation structure should address which of the following objectives? Option A is compliance with the labor laws, less burden to employer in terms of cost, less tax liability and more enhanced salary for the employees, and all the above. Okay. You all can share your inputs, guys. I've got 65% of votes till now. I'll wait till 80%. Okay. All right. So we have got around 72% of votes till now, in which 71% are saying, the majority is saying all the above. The majority is with option D, that is all the above, and others are with other options. So the correct answer here is option D only. All the above points are important. All these above points needs to be considered at the time of designing a compensation structure. Labor laws are also important. Cost is also important, and always check for the more enhanced salary to the employee. Less tax liability for the employee also. So all these terms are important at the time of CTC design, right? So for today's demo session, we are done. Now, if you guys are having any question, you guys can ask your question. You can unmute your mics now, and you can ask your question on the basis of today's topic or anything which is related to the course.
Yeah, this is Balaji Dheeraj Sharma.
You can unmute your mics now, and you can ask your questions if you guys are having any.
Yeah, good evening, Dheeraj.
Yes, good evening. Please ask.
Yeah, this is Balaji.
Yes, Balaji.
Yeah, I attended this section. I think it's good. Everything. I pretty understand everything.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your timing spending with us.
Thank you.
So
My
much.
pleasure. It's our pleasure. Thank you so much.
Hello, sir. Zarna here.
Yes, please.
Can you just tell me if I want to take all the 3 courses, what will be the timing for the lectures? Because I'm working right now as an auditor, so my office time, I can only attend after office timings. So can you tell me the lecture timings, please?
And what are your office timings?
My office timings are from 9 to 6.
9 to 6. See, first of all, we provide classes on weekends only, that is Saturdays and Sundays, right? Considering the working class, majorly the existing students we have, all are the working, right? So we are providing the classes on weekends only, Saturdays and Sundays. Timings are 4 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. right? So in case if you miss any session, we provide the dedicated study materials and the recordings of those sessions also to compensate.
Okay.
Dheeraj, you can shift to the next slide, which contain numbers and timings. Yes.
Okay.
Hello.
Yes,
When is the session starting? When is the next course starting?
from this Saturday. You can enroll yourself on any Saturday because every Saturday we start a new topic, right?
Okay.
And this entire course goes in a cyclic way. So even if you join at recruitment and selection from any Saturday, you would be able to complete the statutory and legal compliance and compensation benefits also in the next 1 month cycle.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Hello.
Yeah, so these courses will finish in a single Saturday, Sunday?
Yes.
How many hours I wanted to ask?
Well, see, actually, all of these modules are different. So the statutory and the legal compliances takes 5 sessions, right?
Mm-hmm.
2 Saturdays, 2 Sundays, and 3 Saturdays and 2 Sundays. Statutory and legal compliances takes 5 sessions. Compensation benefits take 3 sessions. Recruitment selection, right? And all these sessions are of 2 hours and 30 minutes minimum.
Okay.
Hello.
Another
To
thing,
add on to this,
can we get the recording of this session, the one we just had?
Yes, sir. And also you were saying something.
yes, look, the entire course take 10 classes. 10 weekends is more precise. Classes happens on Saturday and Sunday, and there would be 10 classes in total. In 10 classes, the entire course gets completed. No doubt, we would be sharing today's recording as well. By late evening, say somewhere around 9 or 10 p.m., we would be sending you mail, which would be containing today's recording. And in the normal classes also, apart from sharing study material on each and every topic, we share the classroom recording as well, so that whenever you want, you can attend the entire class. So study material is there, classroom recording is there, and there is a certificate. We are ISO 9000 certified company. So after the completion course, you would be getting a certificate also.
And sir, after if I fail to attend one Saturday because of any reason, and if I have any doubts after listening to the recording, how will I contact? Can I always call on the numbers given below?
Yes, there are 3 options. If you miss any class, no doubt you would be getting the study material, you would be getting the recording. You are free to reach us any moment for query, and we would be allowing you to attend the same class whenever it will happen again.
Okay.
Okay, so we
Hello.
would not let you miss anything. Yes, please.
Okay.
Somebody is trying to ask since. हाँ sir,
Uh,
बताइए please.
Sir, myself Jitendra sir. I have two and three questions, two or three questions. First of question, from maternity benefit. In one of my HR group in Facebook, somebody has asked that if a female employee has joined his company about 1 month ago, and already he was not insured person, and recently has joined, and uh, at that time, at the right time, she is having 3.5 months pregnant.
जितेंद्र जी, वो
And
क्वेश्चंस का आंसर मैंने दिया था. एक तो सबसे पहले तो दिस इज रॉन्ग क्वेश्चन इन द रॉन्ग प्लेटफॉर्म. आई अप्रिशिएट
okay,
आप अलग से कनेक्ट होइए. उस क्वेश्चन का आंसर मैंने ही दिया था. एक लेडी ने ज्वाइन
uh,
किया और प्रेग्नेंट थी 3.5. तो
I have also answered
हाँ,
for that,
तो ना अभी
but
अभी क्या करते
that
हैं,
is
लेट्स
not
लेकिन लेट्स कंसंट्रेट ऑन क्वेरीज रिलेटेड टू द सेशन एंड कोर्स. Maternity
okay.
benefit, you talk about any law, feel free to call us any moment. These two numbers, the first number belongs to Dheeraj sir, who has given the entire presentation, and the second number 5 times 9 wala is my number. My name is Anil. कभी भी हम लोग
Oh,
बात कर सकते हैं, बट अभी जहाँ पे 65 लोग हैं, दिस इज स्लाइटली आउट ऑफ द ट्रैक, थोड़ा सा बाहर का हो
okay,
जा रहा है, नीदर
okay.
फ्रॉम द कोर्स नॉर फ्रॉम द पीपीटी.
Okay, my
ओके,
second question. Okay, my second question is this, sir, that according to the factory and 1948,
एक मिनट.
Karachi
मेरा
is
मेरा मेरा आंसर फैक्ट्रीज एक्ट 1948 से रिलेटेड क्वेश्चंस का भी यही है. देखिए, वी हैव
okay.
गिवन डेमो ऑन सीएनबी,
So,
कॉम्पनसेशन एंड बेनिफिट. आप इससे कुछ भी पूछना चाहें, फील फ्री. कोर्स रिलेटेड कुछ भी फील. आपको जो अलग से कनेक्ट होना है, अभी आधे घंटे के बाद वी वुड बी फ्री. हाँ, आप कनेक्ट होइए. हम लोग, मैं अकेला नहीं, हमारे 3 फैकल्टी कनेक्ट होंगे, एंड वी वुड ट्राई टू रिजॉल्व ऑल योर क्वेरीज. बट करेंटली हम लोग गलत प्लेटफॉर्म में गलत क्वेश्चंस डिस्कस करना जा रहे हैं. दैट
excuse
वुड.
me, sir.
हाँ प्लीज.
Sir, I would like to ask you one question here, Praniti here. I would like to ask you that you are saying that you will provide certificate after completion of that course. So, will you take any assessment test, whether we are getting everything or not on that basis?
वेरी नाइस क्वेश्चन प्रणति. लुक, थोड़ा सा बैकग्राउंड में जाना चाहूंगा. वी स्टार्टेड विद 3 month क्लासरूम कोचिंग, and we were taking classes assessment before issuing any kind of certificate, but due to COVID we shifted to entire online session. In
Okay.
this online course we are not conducting any assessment or test. The
Okay.
certificate which we are issuing says that such and such person has successfully completed the course, and we mention the entire topics and modules. So there is no assessment, no test. Dheeraj, if you move forward, probably she would be able to have a look on the kind of certificate we are
Hello.
issuing.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. I'm just sharing.
Hello,
Sir,
sir. Anil, sir.
hello, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, my name is Arpita. So I was actually wondering, I wanted to enroll myself for it. So just wanted to know, is there any form or anything that we need to fill out before, getting the enrollment done?
No, we have kept enrollment and admission very simple. Once you make the payment, you get enrolled in the course. And after this session, we would be sending you the recording and contact number. These are our contact numbers. And we have all sort of payment modes. We take payment through online bank transfer, wallet payment is there, PayU and Razorpay is there. So there is no unique or dedicated form is there as such. Once you make the payment, you get enrolled, and we ask for your full name, email IDs, and WhatsApp number. On email ID, we share all the recordings and study materials. On WhatsApp, we share the class links for every weekend.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, my name is Andrila.
Hi, Angela.
Hi, sir. So I'm a fresher and I wanted to continue my higher studies in HR. So I was just attending this session just to understand how HR, like the whole studying and everything works. So is there anyone who can guide me as to if HR as a career option would be good enough, and how I should be selecting this, and like why, and like the benefits of selecting it or not?
Yes. Look, we are 5 faculties in total, and the lady which I would refer to you in future, her name is Preeti. She is principal consultant with HR India Solution, and she carries somewhere around 15 years experience. She has worked with Reliance Retail, Tata Steel. So we all are HR professionals. We are not businessmen. So, and normally we get attached to 4 or 5 students at any given point of time. So, yes, there could be someone dedicatedly attached to you who would be guiding you in terms of if any interview is coming, she would be preparing you. This is not something which we give to each and every student. This is some obligatory करते हैं मतलब अपने wishes and time के हिसाब से करते हैं. But yes, we definitely work towards assisting and counseling someone how to proceed, how the upcoming interviews can be taken in a better way. We definitely extend all these supports.
So not about upcoming interview. Hello. So I'm not talking about upcoming interviews. I was saying how to decide the career option for HR.
Sir, the class will be held on Saturday and Sunday. The same class will teach on Saturday will be repeated on Sunday, or there are 2 days of there.
There are 2 days.
Differently.
And coming back to your question regarding career,
do we get any placement also?
Placement support is there.
What kind of placement support can you brief?
Achha, you tell me what exactly you want to know. Since we are recruitment concerned, we are majorly into recruitment, working with 35, 40 odd clients at the moment. If you visit our website, we would be able to know with which all clients we are working. And whenever we get any kind of opening from this client, currently we are recommending our students to 2 HR positions which we have. One is at Gurgaon. The Gurgaon wala company is a German MNC. They are asking for fresh candidates. So यहाँ पे we normally recommend our candidate. Again, for recruitment role, we are looking for one HR resource at Calcutta. The company is into steel. Here again, we are recommending our own student. So as far as placement support is there, we would definitely support. But if anyone asks for guarantee, that would be very difficult to provide.
Hello.
Sir, could you please answer
Yes.
my question?
Career, look, we would be definitely assisting you and letting you know what is the plus and minus point of every career. In case you have decided to move into HR, then again into HR there are multiple fields. Whether you want to move into talent acquisition, so we would definitely be clearing your doubts. But decision is something which we would prefer you to take. We would be updating you. Iska kya fayda, iska kya loss hai.
And sir, how can we connect with the ma'am for this session? Because I have the same question as she has. If I want to pursue, I have already done my master's in management. I mean, I'm in the second year. And if I want to go further in that course into HR, so how will should I go further into it?
You need to connect with us tomorrow. Either you connect with me on the second number, or you can connect with Dheeraj on the first number, and we would be connecting you to ma'am.
And what time would be convenient for you, sir?
Tomorrow?
Yes.
Any time during working hours, 9 to 6. We are quite okay. Okay, even
can
if
I
you
do that on Sunday because I will be working too that time?
We are comparatively free, huh? You feel free to call us any moment, and we would be connecting you to ma'am.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
May I speak?
Please.
Hello. Yeah, well, my name is Abdul Rashid, and I have a very good impression about your session. It was very informative, and
so nice
and the presenter was very knowledgeable, and the way he conducted the session is amazing, and very understandable to the people. There are freshers in the session as well.
Yes.
Well, my question here is, and I'm a training specialist by profession and upcoming career coach as well. So I would like to know whether you have any design courses, customized courses for talent development professionals and career coaches.
Currently not. To be frank, currently not.
All right. Do you have anything? Do you have any plan in the pipeline?
We are at
So
very
especially
initial.
for
Yes, we are at a very
yeah.
initial stage. We have just started thinking and talking about that.
All right.
But it will take time. It will take time.
Okay, Mr. Anil. Thank you very much. If anything, particularly anything on career coaching, please you can
Sure,
also
we will.
keep me in the loop and let me also know about your upcoming courses, anything related to. I mean, advanced courses in career coaching. Okay.
Okay.
So, can I ask a doubt, sir?
Yes, please.
So, until when we can apply for this course, sir?
Look, Dheeraj, over to you. As Dheeraj sir has said, this course, every Saturday we are accepting new admissions, and the entire Dheeraj, I am passing your question to Dheeraj sir. Dheeraj, would you like to answer that?
Sure. See, you can enroll yourself on any Saturday you want, right? This Saturday we'll be conducting the module 3. We are starting module 3, that is recruitment selection. So if you want to enroll
So,
on this
actually,
Saturday,
the
you are free to
problem
do
is
that.
that I have a course of completion within a month, sir. So, can I join this course after a month? Is that okay?
You can do that. It's up to your convenience only. According to your convenience, you can join on any Saturday you want.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Hey Anil, this is Balaji.
Mr. Balaji, please. Bataiye.
Yeah. Are you guys providing SAP HR like trainings?
No, currently we do not have any other course. No doubt we are planning and finalizing other courses as well, but this is the only course which we have at this point of time.
Okay, this is basic things of the
Yes.
guy. Okay, thank you so much.
And Dheeraj, please take questions. I am sharing few detail of our company. I am sharing the LinkedIn page detail and YouTube page detail. Yeah, you can know more about us. Yes, any more questions or can we close for today?
Any
No
further
doubt.
question, guys, or shall
We would be sharing today's recording to everyone, and you can connect with us.
Hello.
Hello.
I was just wondering, I have an experience about almost 3 years into recruitment, talent acquisition, and I wanted to pursue a career more into generalist profile. I was wondering if I take up this course, will there be any assistance from your side in terms of placements? If you have, you mentioned that you have clients in Gurgaon and Kolkata. So anything in Mumbai, because I'm in Mumbai at present?
We have clients in Australia and France as well. I have taken name of Calcutta and Gurgaon because currently we have HR requirement in these two locations. Once you visit our website, you would be able to know which all client we are working with. We Pan India is there, no doubt. We have clients based out at other countries as well, but Mumbai is
And most
people from
importantly,
Mumbai keep on coming to us too.
most importantly, it would be
Yes,
based on
please.
the requirement we are having with the client. If there is any specific requirement we are having with any of our clients which is matching with the candidature of our students as well, then only in that situation we refer the students to our clients, right? Not on the regular basis. Depends upon the requirement with the client. There should be a match between the requirement and the candidature of the student.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Sir, the class on Saturday will be repeated on Sunday or
Saturday is a different session, Sunday is a different session.
Okay. Actually, I want to join the statutory and legal compliances. So for that, I have to pay rupees 1500, na? But the one query is there, sir. But that I am free on Sunday only, sir. My weekly off is on Sunday, sir.
No issues in that situation. What you can do, if you want to enroll, you can still, because we are having some of the people who are working on Saturdays, but they have also enrolled. What they do, they ask for the recording of Saturday session. For Saturday session, they just refer the recordings and they come up with their queries to us, and we resolve their queries. And Sundays they usually attend the live sessions. So that is you can attend these sessions.
Sir, the duration of the session will be
2 hours and 30 minutes each session. 4 p.m. 6:30 p.m.
Actually, I want to know, sir, how many days it will be?
Okay. For statutory and legal compliances, there would be total 5 sessions.
5 sessions. Okay.
Total 5 sessions. 3 Sundays and 2 Saturdays.
Approx 5 weeks.
Exactly 5. No, not 5 weeks. It's 2.5 weeks. Every week have 1 Saturday and 1 Sunday.
Yeah. Okay.
5 weekends we can say. Statutory compliances takes 5 weekends. CNB takes 3 weekends. यहाँ पे 8 हो गया, and the recruitment and selection gets 2 classes. So there would be total 10 classes for the entire course. 5 classes for statutory compliances, 3 classes. Okay. So can we close for today, Dheeraj, or anyone wants to ask any question?
Very much thanks, sir.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Fine.
Thanks.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for your time. Be safe, take care, and in case of any query or confusion, feel free to come back to us.
Right, sir.
We would be sharing you the today's recording somewhere around by 9 or 9.
Thanks a lot, sir. Bye, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Bye. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.